Alright, what's up y'all, LakerFan here. As you can see by the title of today's video, showing NBA 2K22 Next Gen love for 18 minutes. So what we're going to do in today's video is we're going to have a list of all the good things I have to say about 2K22 Next Gen on the screen right here. We're going to reveal them one at a time. Also, I'm going to be giving them a grade. It's either going to be an A or a B. Obviously, if it's something good I have to say about the game, it's going to be something positive in terms of a grade, either a B or an A. It's going to fluctuate in terms of like B minus, B, B plus, stuff like that. But either way, first thing I have to talk about in today's video is going to be gameplay updates. These guys have stayed extremely consistent this year at providing gameplay updates for what needs it, aka the pluck steals in the beginning of the game with Season 1, stuff like that, passing lane patch. You have all types of different things, left-right patch in Season 3, or just, again, the list goes on and on. They have stayed on top of the gameplay updates, very good, and obviously when it was Season 1, some people were saying the gameplay was amazing and don't touch it at all. They even responded to that and didn't touch it, but then obviously people kept complaining and complaining about the pluck steals. That's where everything kind of came along as far as the patches happening. Some people would say it's a good thing, some people would say it's a bad thing. I say they stayed on top of it pretty good, and they're doing their best at least at maintaining everything and trying to provide for balancing the game on the fly. Alright, so next up we have the addition of vehicles to handle the city size. Now, for those who don't know, in 2K21 Next Gen, all we had were skateboards, and there was no go-karts that you could earn in Season 1, there were no inline skates, there were no just anything of any better way of getting around than just a skateboard. On top of that, the city was even bigger in 2K21 Next Gen, so overall, I think it was a pretty good thing that they added this stuff. Now, on top of that too, this is an A, right? Now, some of these are just no-brainers. Like, to me, some of these A's and A pluses are like, yes, why didn't you have this in the game sooner? Like, pretty much, like, no-brainer stuff, right? Some of these will be of that nature, but just wanted to explain that. Now, on the other hand of this, there is a little bit of a negative, where if you didn't earn the go-kart in Season 1, you could still buy it with VC after Season 2 ended, and some people don't like that. Some people say it's BS that someone can just buy it with VC after they, like, grinded and earned it, but here's the other thing too, bro. It's expensive like crazy. If they're willing to spend that type of VC or that type of money on the go-kart, if they didn't earn it in Season 1, I don't see the problem with it. Obviously, that is putting a lot of money in 2K's pockets, which some people who are watching this video are going to absolutely hate. Listen, bro, I don't care at all. Realistically, if someone wants to spend 50 bucks to get a virtual go-kart in the game, let them do it. It is what it is. Obviously, not a lot of people are going to do that. I'm sure if you were to track 2K spending on that, or people who actually have put the money in to get that go-kart with VC, it's probably pretty minimal. Next up, we have Rebirth. This is a big W for 2K, I gotta say. Really, really good addition. The only reason I don't have this as an A+, I feel like they could have gone another step with it. So a lot of the people who comment on the video that I made about Rebirth being introduced to the game like 2 to 3 months ago, whatever the case may be, was that they didn't like how it still starts you as a 60 overall. Now, the nice thing about it is you're gonna get 30 extra badges for free. Like, you don't have to grind for those at all, and that's the beauty in it, is like the grind aspect. You don't have to grind for your extra my point caps, you don't have to grind for your extra badges and stuff like that. If they took it even a step further, I gotta say, this addition is really good for the consumer, aka us the players, and then really good for the actual producer of the game, aka 2K, where pretty much the more people that get on this game and the more people that spend money on their game, it equals good for them, right? Whereas for us, the less time that we have to put in, the less grind that we have to do, that's pretty like brain dead and meaningless and stuff like that, right? Like, we're just trying to hop on the game and have fun. Now, again, I think a lot of people would agree that if they stretch it out a little bit further and maybe made it so you could be no money spent all the way up to like a 75 overall, that'd be really convenient for people. And again, if they could stretch it a little bit further, and what's the point in making you have to grind for your my points? I don't really understand that. I think it holds a lot of people back from really embracing and loving this game as a new player. And when it comes to my IRLs or my like family or friends, whatever the case may be, who plays the game, I think a lot of people get turned off at the fact they have to grind the builds. I think also they should make this accessible literally to not even having created a build. The thing with Rebirth is you have to already have a 90+ overall and play like multiple games to unlock this feature. And I think if you were to be able to get this out the box and just create a MyPlayer that can go to 90 overall with 30 extra badges off rip, it'd be really convenient for a lot of people. So again, we're giving Rebirth an A. I think it was a really good idea. I think it's kind of an obvious one though that they could have had in the game a little bit earlier than just like even a couple months into it, or we could even had this in previous games or something like that. They obviously had the Rebirth back in 2K19, but that was a whole different kind of story. It was like a one-time thing, and it was a little bit different. And all it gave you was like Hall of Fame badges off rip. Kind of stupid, really. But anyway, MyPlayer builder, we have this as a B. There are positives and negatives to this. This will also be in the negatives video, but I think this is more so good than bad. There are a couple things in the MyPlayer builder where obviously there is some good and there's a couple things that are some bad. I think a couple notes are obviously the fact that there is pretty good balance in this game in terms of, I think you can make a build at literally any height. We've talked about this in other videos. Anything all the way from 5'7" all the way up to 7'3", and every height in between is pretty valid in this game. I can't really make a case for why any specific height would be absolute garbage and that you shouldn't do it. Honestly, I already talked about that in the video though, so again, that's my positive when it comes to MyPlayer builder. What I also mentioned in that video, and I'm just going to kind of relay this one more time, is that I really do like the badge budgeting system. I like that certain things require 7 or certain things require 6 to put a Hall of Fame badge on. I think if they budgeted it in a different sense though, where things that are really good like posterizer or blinders or mismatch expert, deadeye, are a little bit harder to get than, let's say, teardropper or slippery off ball. People would actually run things like teardropper or slippery off ball even if it doesn't fit the meta of the game if it was more affordable. But there's no point in spending like 3 badge points on silver teardropper when you could just spend 3 badge points into slithery finisher, posterizer, limitless takeoff. The list goes on and on. Where some of the badges are a lot better, some of the badges are a lot worse. If they started to kind of budget that accordingly and make the bad ones cheaper and the good ones more expensive, I think you'd see a lot more balance in terms of the badge counts and the badge loadouts that people run. But that's my 2 cents on that. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any disagreements with any of this list or any of the video, feel free to leave it in the comments. I would love to hear your guys' feedback and your perspective on this stuff. But next up, we have gave randoms a place to play, old gym, and market 1v1. This is a huge, great addition if you ask me. I think for the people out there, and I'll speak for the people because this is not me. This is not like me from this perspective of how I play with a full squad pretty much 24/7 whenever I play this game. I think this is a great addition for the people out there that don't have teammates or are looking to find teammates or people that they're seeking out to maybe be people they could play with the game with consistently. Also, with this randoms title, I don't mean any offense by it. It's just kind of what we say. It's a little bit toxic. I understand that, but I don't think anybody really cares that much at being called a random if you don't play with a full squad or a set of people. And again, it's all in the strive of maybe either you don't care about the game enough and you're okay with just kind of hopping on here and, you know, loading right into a matchmaking game. First and foremost, I want to say that's a really big W. But on top of that too, not having to deal with playing full squads when you load into this old gym, or for the market 1v1, if you don't have a squad and you don't want to have to depend on randoms, then you can boom, just load up in the 1v1 matchmaking and you just instantly get games against other people, and it does count your record and everything like that. The progression isn't that great with this. I will say if they up that a little bit, people would probably play the game a whole lot more, especially those types of people that I'm talking about who it definitely fits their play style to play like this, where they don't have to play with teammates or deal with like randoms at all in the first place. And again, take the word solo queue. I just want you guys to kind of think of that. Solo queue is a big W for people who don't want to have to sit here in a party with other people, or maybe they're just kind of, you know, like chilling, listen to some music. They want to play 2K. They want to just hoop. I think things like this are really good. So solo queue, keep that word in mind. We have it talking about it in the next video as far as the negatives and how it's not in rec. I'll give that kind of spoiler alert away, but I think if they added solo queue to rec, that'd be so fire. But again, we'll talk about that in tomorrow's video. All right, next up we have rooftop courts as a substitute for my career grinding. I think this is a really big W. Overall though, like I said with the whole rebirth thing, I think if they just made it so we don't have to grind quite as much, I think that'd be a really big like addition anyway. So it makes this one obsolete if they were to do that. But either way, with everything how it currently stands, how you do have to grind your MyPlayer build and you have to actually go for the badges, the attribute caps, stuff like that, the rooftop courts are a really big W. You still get a little bit of XP while doing it. You get your performance grade up, which is a little bit weird, kind of, if you ask me. I think the performance grade is more so meant to mean like how good someone is. If they're in the purple tier, that means they're actually like good at the game and they win a lot. But the fact that it goes up in here, that's kind of a different story. I mean, you're playing CPUs and you're just beating him like 20 times over, and it's just going to be an automatic W every time. So that's a whole different story. But either way, you get XP in here, you get performance grade, you get VC, you get attribute points, you get badge points, all types of stuff. The list goes on, and it's really good. I gotta say, like, the progression in here is amazing. They're really quick games, and it's really convenient for the people who are grinding their builds. So A+, I think they could have implemented this at any given time in any other game though. It's a good idea though, and at the end of the day, we have to reward them for the slightest things. All right, next up I have dunk timing. Now, I am a personal lover of this. I have this in my personal book as an A+. I'm kind of just going by what the community would grade this though overall, and I feel like most people will agree with me that I think it's a big W. I don't think slashers should really be looked at as the brain dead, like no skill stuff they have been in the past, and not to say that I think that was the case, but this being implemented added a huge skill gap, and I gotta say, I think it's a really big W from my perspective. I will say though, I think if you were to reward people for maybe making builds with 99 driving dunk or Hall of Fame posterizer a little bit more than it already is, I think that'd be a probably really good idea. Me personally, I'm starting to see that there's really not that much of a difference between 99 driving dunk and 92, and for that matter, I haven't even tested this yet, but it might just be the same thing as far as the difference between 92 and 84. Really, if you can just get contact dunk packages, it might just be the key. I'm gonna test that stuff out a little bit, probably making a new build, but either way, overall, I think dunk timing was a really good addition. There is a bit of latency on it though. I will say it's very delayed, but once you get used to it after doing it hundreds of times, it becomes a little bit more normal. But at the beginning of the game, I'm not going to say this has gone anywhere either. Just understand that latency is still a thing. I've just gotten used to it. But at the beginning of the game, when I was first like kind of getting introduced to this, I was really irritated with it. I was like, yo, what is up with the timing on this? It's so delayed. It's really annoying. And going from my career, it wasn't delayed at all. It's just the latency in the park of it. And it's not being delayed in the park. It's not like I'm dribbling delayed. It's not like I'm shooting delayed. It's not like I'm playing defense delayed. It's literally just the dunk meter has latency and increased latency online. And if you already have bad internet as well, and you are having like 100 millisecond latency on top of that, with the game adding that latency of the dunk meter, it's literally impossible to do this stuff, bro. I can't even imagine being someone who has bad internet and still trying to do this with maybe not even a build that has really high driving dunk or Hall of Fame posterizer. So overall, I think dunk timing is a really good idea. It's a really good implementation. I hope they continue to keep this in future games. Just maybe tweak it and get it a little bit better, fit the balance of the game a little bit better, because not a lot of people come out here with dunking builds anymore, bro. I think a lot of people are ducking this. They are really scared of timing their dunks, and at the end of the day, it's easier to just get open, zigzag around, and shoot for threes, or just the fact that they have to respect your three so high gives you wide open takes that you can just do holding up on your right stick and get the quick drops every single time. And listen, one of you out there, I already know, you're sitting here with like a smug look on your face. You're like, oh, this dude who doesn't even shoot a single jump shot's over here talking about how easy it is to be me, talking about like, oh, all I do is hold up on my right stick and get quick drops. Well, you do. It's as simple as that, right? I mean, literally, they have to respect their three-pointer so high, and then quick drops are automatic with silver limitless takeoff and 74 driving dunk. And with 74 dunk and no layup, no close shot, no standing dunk, and no post control, you play like an absolute pure slasher, really. Anyway, moving along, we have takeover perks. Now, the reason I don't have takeover just in general in this, or the fact that there's double takeover, is that it already was in 2K21 next gen, but I think the double takeover is a really good idea. I look at current gen gameplay and I'm like, yo, that's so weird. I forget sometimes that they have single takeover with no takeover perks or anything like that either. But next gen, it's a really cool addition. I think the takeover perks could use a little bit more balancing though. The reason I have it as a B+, I think it's a little bit stupid that they add all these things and some of them are completely useless. Like pretty much 90% of the people that you see play this game are going to run Accelerator. If it's not Accelerator though, it's probably Juice. Juice is a really good look as far as like lockdown builds or slasher builds if you're going to be boosting your speed, or if maybe you're an intermediate shooting build that has like 85 3-pointer or so, but you can still get sharp take. It's a pretty good idea. Overall, though, I think they just need a little bit more balance. They need to maybe tone down Accelerator a bit. I think that'd be a really good idea. And then after that, things like Extender would see a little bit more use. Things like Juice would probably be like the meta, if anything. And the list goes on and on. I think what they really should do too is make these more accessible, bro. Like Sabador is a really cool idea. It's just there's so much tedious grind and checking every single day to see if your checklist has the Sabador unlocked for that day. You have to sign in every single day in hopes that you can just see that and then complete the goals that it asks you to as well. Meanwhile, you can get Accelerator like 20 minutes into your My Career. It's kind of stupid. I think if they opened up some of those defensive takeover perks, you'd probably see defense being even more balanced in this game, where on-ball lockdown defenders could actually slow the progress of someone getting their takeover, or with Sabador, it makes them go cold if you get a steal in the first possession of a game. I mean, it's a really cool addition. It also, what it is meant to do is to drop your takeover down even more for when you get steals or blocks. Sabador is a really cool thing. I just wish it was more mainstream. It was more accessible. I can't even get it on any of my builds. It's a problem, bro. It really is. So takeover perks, it's a really cool idea, really good addition, but they need to make the defensive ones way more accessible, and they need to nerf Accelerator as well. If that's going into 2K23 next gen or just 2K23 in general, then I gotta say you definitely want to look into that. But if they make a patch to Accelerator and just like nerf it, I think that'd be really good for the balance of the game. Anyway, moving along, we have the Halloween and Christmas rewards. I have this at a B-. Some of them were kind of mid. I'll just put it like that. Like the Halloween ones were a really big W. Like you were getting somewhere around 40 boost, 40 Gatorade. You got like a lot of VC. You got some clothing as well. Some people got like double XP tokens as well. Now with Christmas, this is kind of boom or bust. The equality level wasn't there. I'll just put it like that. Like some people got absolute garbage. They got coal for Christmas. Some people were getting like literally unlimited boosts or unlimited Gatorade. The stuff was kind of crazy. Like I said, the balance of it was not there. overall, again, it just was a little bit underwhelming to an extent, but free stuff is free stuff. At the end of the day, you can't be mad at it. You know, 2K is just giving away free VC or free clothing or, you know, free boost, free Gatorade, free just anything really. So at the end of the day, you can't be too mad at it, but it was a little bit underwhelming on the Christmas one. The Halloween was a big W though. If they duplicated the same thing on Halloween that they would have for Christmas, that would have been a huge, huge W. And lastly, we have the overall gameplay. I honestly think the overall gameplay is pretty good. I have it an A-. If I had to rank the gameplay out of 10, I would say it's kind of like an 8.5. I'll put it like that. So whether that means A- or not by like actual terminology, listen, I don't know. I'll just put it like that. But either way, I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. I think the gameplay is really good. I think some people are really sleeping on this game. It is a little bit underwhelming in terms of the rep rewards and stuff like that that you get. But again, we're here for the good stuff. We're here for the positivity as far as 2K22 Next Gen. I will be dogging this game tomorrow, talking about those things like the rep rewards and stuff like that, or the rep system just in general. But I don't want to give away too much stuff. But again, the gameplay itself, I can't hate on the gameplay too much. The only thing that I think really lacks balance in the gameplay is interior scoring is really overpowered, interior defense is a little bit underpowered, and they've really touched really good on the gameplay updates. Again, the updates, I'm giving this an A. Like, this is a 9, probably a 9.5 out of 10 as far as how they've been keeping up with the updates. They completely nerfed left, right, like super cheese, like zigzag stuff, right? Like, you can't go super sideways, and they really, really made it valid to run any type of point guard build. And again, to backtrack even further, we have patch 1 with the pluck steals. That was pretty necessary to an extent. I think it was a good idea though. It was masking some of the gameplay flaws that were in the game, aka because zigzag and like left, right cheese was so crazy. I felt like on-ball pluck steals were kind of needed, but now that both of those things got patched, it definitely balanced the gameplay out to where I feel like defense is actually on a kind of even tilt when it comes to versus offense. And then also the patch that they made as far as the passing lanes too, that was pretty necessary too. And on top of that as well, I think what kind of got lost in the mix with that passing lane patch is that on-ball defense saw a really nice buff. Like when it comes to clamps and just body up animations and stuff like that, again, I'm on a 7-footer, I don't even have clamps, but I was getting crazy body ups after the patch. I think they've done a really good thing when it comes to the gameplay updates in this game, and now where we stand in terms of the overall gameplay, I feel like it's pretty good. So this is my good things about 2K22 list right here. Now, as far as the length of video, I don't even know. Like I said in the intro, I went back and I'm going to record it like after this, after I do all the editing and see how long the video was. But again, showing 2K22 some love for X amount of minutes. If you guys enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on the noties, all that good stuff. If we could try to get this one to like 500 likes, I'd appreciate that. This might actually pop off a little bit, but it might also flop. I don't know how the video is going to do as far as performance wise. If you made it to the end of the vid, put good in the comments to show support's made all the way through. And again, feel free to leave any of your feedback. Again, this is all just fun little banter right here. If you take my word very seriously and you look at me as like, yo, Laker, appreciate you showing love to 2K, bro. Love what you do. Listen, bro, I call it how it is. Again, what you see in today's video, don't take this and look at me as the mascot of a lover of 2K22 Next Gen. I'm going to be posting the bad stuff tomorrow. And again, some of these people are going to be saying I'm de-sucking the game, you know, all types of stuff like that. Just, you know, just sucking up to 2K for the logo, right? It's the typical thing to say, right? But I'm calling this stuff as it is. I don't care about anybody's feelings as far as how I feel about this stuff. This is my opinion, and I'm letting you guys hear it. If you have any disagreement, leave it in the comments, but I'm not going to sit here and respond to the ones calling me out personally. I'll just put it like that. So anyway, that is all for the video. Hope y'all enjoyed. Other than that, take it easy, man. Peace.